Hi there, Joe Zuleika here. It's Josie coming live at you guys for day 2 of our Create More Confidence Challenge. Who's in? Who's here? Who's with me? Give me a big hey, a hello, a hi. Say something in the comments below. Yesterday was on fire. You guys were amazing. We had a huge group. We had like over 400 comments that came through. Wow, it was really engaging. I'm so excited. Glad to come back for round 2. And I just need to sort of get ourselves together here. So while I'm tech checking, yay! Hi, Tina, Susie Q, Jane, Amy. You're here, you're here, you're here. Bring it on. So you know what the topic is today, right? I advertised it. Anybody want to type it in the thread there while I get myself set up? Do you remember what it's called? It is none other than negative self-talk, right? Are you guys tracking? And I want to share like what I hope is a very humorous anecdote to help set the tone for today. About 5 minutes ago, I was all set up in this beautiful conference room where you saw me yesterday, inside in a, climate controlled atmosphere. I was doing my lipstick. I was getting ready for you guys. And it turns out that I actually didn't reserve the conference room. So at the last minute, somebody came and knocked on the door and said, I need to come in here. And I had all my things set up, right? And if I had let my negative self-talk take over, I probably would have given myself a lot of heat in that moment. Like, oh my God, you blew it, Joe. You're such a blow it. You blow it every time. You mess up. You suck. You can't do details, right? I mean, any number of things could have given me an absolute shame storm for the fact that I made a mistake. I made a mistake and it threw me off my game. So instead, I'm outside in 90-degree weather, but I wanted to wear a really pretty scarf for you. So it might come off if you guys, don't mind. But here's the benefit. Look where I am. Isn't this so beautiful? I'm in Washington State. This is the Meadow River behind me. And I'm sitting at a picnic table, and I'm getting to talk to all of you, right? So things could be worse. And I'm going to give myself a break because that's what I am teaching you guys to do. All right, so who is enjoying Create More Confidence so far? How's it going for you? I would love to have you put in anything in there. What are your takeaways from yesterday? Was there anything that you tried differently last night? Or if you're tracking from the UK or Europe for this morning, anything that you tried differently and want to claim in the comments? What were your takeaways? I think that it's such a benefit for you to be participating and typing back to me because there's only so much that we can do in this sort of one-way forum to feel like we're connected. So let's keep that thread going that we had yesterday where you're writing to me, you're telling me things, you're participating, I can say your name. I want to call out that we did have an amazing prize winner last night. And if Heather Cooper's on the line, she's going to receive this beautiful soft leather journal that is being sent right to her door because she won the prize for joining us yesterday and staying all the way to the end. So that's pretty exciting. All right, let's read. You guys love my view, so that's awesome. Dawn, hey, you did some more conscious breathing. Beautiful. So did Valeria. Beautiful. An internal drama, and she did a scan and breath. It worked. Heidi Sheldon, you win, right? Heather Cooper wins the journal, but you win if you're putting these into practice. That's really cheesy, isn't it? But it's so true. If you're participating, if you're really learning something, this is self-care at its finest. We're not talking about a treat or a snack or a spa day, a pedicure. Those things are nice. We're talking about actually feeding your brain with something that's going to help you that you can rely on as a forever tool. Beautiful. Tina, it motivated me to want to focus on me and help me realize it's worth it. This is no greater investment than doing this type of work for yourself. Yay! Hi, Heather. She got her journal. Well, it's coming to you. What's the breathing app called? It wasn't really an app unless somebody put something in there. Oh, there's various features in the Calm app that can teach you to kind of follow and trace breathing. Calm, you can get some free guidance there on that app. So try that. I love it. You guys felt motivated. You're so connected. You're joining again. You're participating. You're showing up for yourself. This is awesome because you are in the driver's seat. I can be teaching all I want, but this is a course that can transform your beliefs and give you something truly priceless, self-confidence. But you have to show up and do the work. You've got to like participate. You've got to actually think it through, not just sort of gloss over and sort of kind of listen, but really engage with the content and think about how this might serve you. Put yourself into it, and then you can make it yours if you're really participating. That's how you win. So I want you to pay attention. And I know that it's hard to keep showing up day after day, but you will get value from this if you keep showing up. This talk is going to be so popular. We're talking about how to deal with negative self-talk. And I want to introduce a really important concept. And we're just leaning into it now. It's called the saboteur. So let me just get myself sorted here. Are you still enjoying the view? I hope it's not too bright. I hope that it's working for you. So negative self-talk is something that we're almost immune to hearing because it's like a constant loop in the back of our minds. It's something like it's a unconscious narrative of us on us all day, every day. And it can sound sort of like this, like, oh, I'm getting in my car. Where are my keys? I can't find my keys. Oh, I think I left them over here. Oh, while I do that, I'm going to get another cup of coffee. Oh, I shouldn't drink so much coffee. I should drink water instead. I didn't get very much sleep last night. That's why I'm drinking coffee. I don't feel very well. There's my keys. I mean, it's like that, right? It's like you're talking to yourself all day long without even realizing it. And unfortunately, so many of the messages that you're sending yourself, so much of the narrative that you're speaking to yourself is not positive and it's not encouraging and it's not empowering. So give me a hell yes if you can relate to this. If you have a problem with self-talk, let me know in the comments. What kind of impact does it have on you when you are dealing with negative self-talk? And welcome as you're just starting to join. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about what a saboteur is. I'm going to teach you a ton of tactical tips today, and it's not going to take years of therapy. And no shade thrown at therapy. I think therapy's got its place. But sometimes we're tempted to go into a big dive into the past, and you can help feel yourself confident. You can start stoking your self-confidence right now in the present and on into the future. I am going to give you one super secret hack for how to get through a shame storm immediately. But stay tuned, that's coming later. All right, so let's hear what's going on for you in the thread. Yes, you are affected by negative self-talk. I'm getting a lot of hell yes. Definitely my own worst enemy. Hi, Casey Hoppy. Oh my God, yes, and it's constant, and you can't shut it up. And hell yes, it brings you down, says Susie Q. Hell yes, totally, it's draining. My mood follows my thoughts. It's demoralizing. Hi, Keech. And it drains your energy. So you're identifying it, right? You want to get rid of this. You want to shake this off. It's not helpful to you anymore. Are we all in agreement there? Okay, so let's talk about what it is. Hell yes, says Kelly Short, slows down my day, makes me feel completely unorganized when every effort to be organized that I know. Yeah, so it's sort of a tear down energy, right? It's like an undercutting energy. It's a cut you off at the knees energy. It can be very, very demoralizing, very critical, very deflating. And I want to explain why it's here. Like, why does, if this is such a painful experience that we're all having, it feels universal in this group, and I think that everyone has this sort of potential for negative self-talk. Why do we have it? What possible service does it provide us? And I want to explain that this self sabotaging voice actually did serve a purpose at one time in our lives. And it was when we were little girls, it was when we were young. And this awakening awareness, some would call it the ego, is something that developed as a way to establish who we are in the world and help support our growth. So let me give you a little background. You can imagine like the whole hot stove lesson, right? You touch a hot stove and you pull your hand away really quick, and you mentally have an immediate learning loop there. Touch hot stove, hand hurts. And you start to learn, don't do that. You might learn, run down the stairs because it seems really fun. Oh no, topple, fall, hurts, take your time. These are the learning loops that as we were growing physically and emotionally, we established in our own experience, right? Does that make sense? Really simple cause and effect learning loops. If you break the bowl, mommy is mad and she says no. If you finish all the food in the bowl, mommy is happy and she pats you on the head and says yes. Our inner critic and our inner achiever was established from a very young age of knowing what behaviors were positive and affirming and got us good results, and what other behaviors we needed to avoid pain and bad results. So our development was really a function of this dynamic that was built internally for our protection and for our safety. And it was reinforced constantly as we became socialized in the world, as we met teachers and coaches and other adults in our life that had influence, and of course, parents and grandparents in our wider family network. We were reinforced to be a certain way and received those messages that we internalized and made part of our dialogue. And it gave us a sense of identity. It helped us know who we are. So the sabotaging self critic is here for one reason only, and it's to keep you safe. The saboteur is a part of your brain that evolved that said, not so fast, take care. It's the part of your inner learning dialogue that would keep you from hurt and harm. Is this resonant for you? Does that make sense to you? But what happens is it becomes distorted over time. And the more you experience some negative input and it hurts, the more you'll start to feel a real avoidance, a real desire to avoid that pain. And that voice gets louder and there's more momentum. And that voice comes up with, who do you think you are? You can't do that. How dare you? Don't do that. It'll never work. Don't bother. And then there's some really, really terrible parts of that voice that can get into, abuse. It's like self-abuse, like you suck. You're a failure. I told you so. It'll never work. So I don't want to feed your saboteur a great deal because we're going to teach her how to sit down. But in effort to really dispel the energy, are you comfortable with typing in something that your sabotaging self-critic says in the chain? What does your inner critic often say? What's a common refrain? What's a common saying that you hear in your mind's ear? Like, oh, not so fast, or there you go again, or you always mess up. What is it like for you? And I'll give you some time to type that. And while I do, I might kind of play around with some of my tech just to see like what looks better. This way you have to look at the street. I think it's nicer if you can look at the river down below. So what does your inner critic, what does your saboteur tell you? There's some classic ones. You're not good enough, right? Thank you for sharing. What other classic self-sabotaging voice? You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You haven't achieved anything. You can't complete anything. You can do it. That's good, Mary Catherine. Or do you mean you can't do it? Susie Q says, you made another error. Maybe you shouldn't have this job. I can't do it. You always do it wrong. Definitely not being good enough. No one wants to hear you. Don't eat that. Okay, we're going to talk about that. Body shaming. You're too fat. No one likes you. I haven't achieved anything. Can you guys, as you're reading this thread, can you feel deep compassion for your fellow women who lead with heart who are here claiming these really toxic and abusive voices that are beating your friends up? Can you feel that? There's so many coming through. Don't say that. You're stupid. You're not strong enough. This is above your level. You're not doing enough. Let's send each other some compassion. Man, imagine all of the stuff that you get done every day, despite the fact that this voice is tearing you down. Isn't that amazing? That you get out of bed every day is amazing. And I know you're slaying it in so many other ways. Yeah, I want to hug all of you too, says Heidi Sheldon. Me too. So this is helpful to a point, but we're not going to indulge our inner saboteur for too much longer. What I want you to do is just be in awareness of what that voice is saying, what it sounds like, and know that it's not the real you. It's not the empowered, beautiful, expansive you. It's a piece of you that's sort of like a sliver in your thumb that needs to come out because it's not helpful anymore. So you're identifying it now, but we're not going to indulge it. What I want you, yeah, you guys are all here and showing up and you were brave. I want you to know that this inner saboteur is there to actually keep yourself safe from feeling bad things. It's afraid for you. It's afraid that you'll be rejected or humiliated or ignored. And it's actually trying to help you not risk those feelings by beating yourself up first before it happens, or for keeping yourself in line when a mistake happens. Does that make sense? It's a mechanism of self-protection, kind of gone haywire because it's really abusive to yourself. It's too critical. It's too toxic. But it's here to help you risk less and stay small. It's your turtle shell. It's the thing that provides you safety so that you rein it in and you hide and you go feel bad. You hide away and you protect yourself. You find safety and reassurance. That's what it's here to do. All right? So we want to understand it. Your inner saboteur cannot survive compassion and understanding. You can win. It's a battle of wits, and this is not a very smart part of yourself. It's an old part of yourself, and it can be loved away. So what do? You've identified it. Now what do we do? I'm going to give you some other tactics. Sorry, my beautiful new scarf that I bought for you is going to have to come off because it's like 95 degrees out here. That's me being authentic, right? Okay. What do? Listen to the narrative. Who is speaking? What is the voice saying? Just be really objective, like, that's really a negative voice. That's very quite critical. I'm hearing it say should all the time. It's full of comparison. I hear absolutes. I'm hearing all or never all the time. I'm hearing sort of plaintive, like I wish or I can't or yeah, but. Yeah, I know I won that award, but it only would happen once. So identify the thread of what the voice is saying. And I want you to meet it with curiosity and humor. It's a little dark gremlin side of yourself. Think of it as a funny little figure that lives in your head and give it an identity. He's green, he's slimy, he's got a black heart, he likes to throw rotten tomatoes. He's a whirling dervish that never stops. He's got a megaphone. Personalize it. What kind of characteristics does your inner gremlin have, this sabotaging voice? See it as small. See it as annoying. See it as like overactive. See it as something that you can feel lovingly pathetic towards, like, you poor little thing, trying to keep me safe. Just play with me a little bit here. Don't get too attached. And give yourself a break if this is hard for you, because we've lived with our self-sabotage for every decade that we're here. After 2 years old, you started internalizing this and started talking to yourself. So if this is the first day that you've heard lessons like this, please don't even let your saboteur beat you up for not being good at beating up your saboteur. So I like to greet my saboteur, my little gremlin, with curiosity and even humor. Like, oh, there you are, you silly little voice. I see you now. I know your way of being. I've got your number. I know your style. I see you trying to tear me down. I see you trying to hold me back. There's that voice again. Some way that you can speak to it almost like it's a separate part of yourself, a little dissociating here. Like, there's that voice again. If that's all you can say, just identify it like, there's that voice again. Can you do that? Amy George, I hear you. Your mind always lets you down. Be careful. That's your saboteur telling you you can't learn, because you can. You're here. You brought yourself to this call. Your mind does not always let you down. You haven't learned how to train it yet. You're beginning to learn how to train it. Keach, you are so awesome, because that is what I tell my voice too. STFU. A more kinder way of saying that could be, I see you. Thank you for sharing. Acknowledge it. Thank you for sharing. But sit down. Some way to sort of humorously divide yourself, the you on you. You're the bigger part of you talking to this smaller, self-shaming, negative part of you, the tear down part of you. Find a way to acknowledge it and tell it to sit down. So you want to be conscious of it and name it, but not feed it. All right? I think it does help. I love it, Maria. Well, hello there, Mr. Voice. I see you. What are you doing? Beautiful. So it's a challenge actually to actually hear it and call it out, because you're often collapsing it upon yourself and you think it's you. You think it's the real whole you. But it's not. It's just a small piece of you. So that's the first tactic, is every time it happens, hear it. Oh, it's criticizing me for wanting to go for that second cup of coffee. Oh, it's telling me I don't drink enough water. Oh, it's shaming me for not being healthier. That's that voice again. Oh, I see you. Sit down. Thank you for sharing. Right? It might be helpful for you to write some of these things down as a way to sort of discharge its power over you. Not for you to underscore it or to really give it more authority, but if it helps you to actually write it down. I just thought of this. You could write it down and burn it. You could write it down and crumple it up. But know exactly what these voices are saying. What's the thread? It's all about body shaming. It's all about not being smart enough. It's all about not being good enough to be at my level. Not today, Satan. Oh my God, Leslie, that's so awesome. Did you just think of that, or is that what you've always used? Okay, so I'm going to give you some tactics when that message is coming through. Are you ready? Now's the learning. Heads up. Here it comes. So number one, you're going to acknowledge it in some way. And then I'm going to give you some ways to actually sort of deconstruct it, to combust it, to metabolize it, to break it up into smithereens. First is the 4 C's. Is anybody taking notes? When you join these calls, are you writing these down? The 4 C's. Maybe I'll put it in the comments below. You ready? Number 1, get curious. You say to it, is that really true? Just be curious. Challenge the thought. You got the negative thought that arises, challenge it. Huh, is that really true? Number two, complete. Is that the complete truth? Like, yeah, maybe I do drink a little coffee on some days, but not all days. That's not the complete truth. It's not the whole truth. Number three, get compassionate. Is it helpful to believe this voice? Is it what I want to believe? Well, that's not very helpful for me to beat myself up for drinking coffee. It's not very helpful for me to judge myself for not getting a lot of sleep last night. It's not helpful for me to shame myself for not being healthier and drinking water. I don't want to believe that. And if you have difficulty with the compassionate side of it, here's the thought I have for you in this part. Would you let a dear friend say this to herself? You can think about someone that you love so dearly. Oh my God, did you hear that? That was a really funny horn. Maybe that was a sign. Um, if you think of someone that you love so dearly, that you care about so tenderly, that you really want to encourage, and you heard her say, I suck. Man, I just suck. I blow it every time. I hate myself. I hate how I do things. I hate everything about the way I do it. Would you allow that, or would you step in and say, oh, dear heart, there's a better way to get at this. That's not all true. I got you. So when you're at the compassionate stage, ask yourself, could you speak to yourself as nicely as you would to a dear friend? You are your own best friend. Talk to yourself as if you're a friend. Thanks, Mary Catherine. I know Amy George says you don't do well with compassion, and this is challenging for many women, that you can be good at giving it to others, but maybe not with yourself. Or maybe it's not a vibe that you carry naturally for yourself, for other people too. So we can work on that. So the next step is perfect. If you don't feel like a super compassionate, vibe happening for you, you can simply get creative. The fourth C, get creative. I'm going to move around a little bit. You can get creative by softening the judgment or the harshness just a little. So you can say something like, well, that might be true, but I'm choosing to believe something slightly different. How can you soften the judgment or the harshness of the statement? How are you doing with the 3 C's? So next we can talk about what do you do next? You rewrite it. What you can do in that moment, find something you are good at and say that instead. I'm going to give you some tips later. This is just an overview. Maybe there's something else that you're prioritizing and acknowledge your progress. So yeah, maybe you've gained a few pounds or a few kilos in this shelter in place time. Not easy being that close to the refrigerator all day, lots of stress eating. But maybe there's something else you're prioritizing, like becoming a better leader and growing your confidence. So acknowledge that. Like in this really challenging time, I'm investing time and energy in becoming a better me. Yeah, I might be a little bit of a bigger me, but I'm going to be a better me. Acknowledging your progress. And then I like to talk about, and we'll talk more about this at the end, state what you're becoming or choosing or open to believing. So it's like, sort of like, I like to think of this as like a knot that you're unwinding and loosening and sort of opening up a little bit. Like you're not going to solve everything and tell yourself that you're Wonder Woman and beautiful and magnificent. There's nothing that's ever going to get you down. I mean, great if you can handle that. But even if it's just a half step towards being more compassionate and kind to yourself, then that's the first goal. So let's talk about the body shaming part of it. Like if that's a common challenge for you or whatever criticism you give yourself. Let's say this is another tactic, is to reframe and find positive aspects to speak of instead. This is how you could soften the judgment. So let's say you've had a terrible weekend of overeating and indulging and you feel crappy and there's a lot of self-judgment and inner negative talk. You could say, oh, I suck. I never can keep on my diet on the weekends, or I've gained so much weight since this COVID thing started, or I can't believe I fell off my diet again. You can reframe it by finding positive aspects to say instead. And so that could look like, I can make a different choice tomorrow. I always get to choose. I get to choose right now. I'm going to drink some water right now, right? If you feel loathing for yourself, you could reframe and find a positive aspect of a different part of your body that you love. So instead of, oh, my thighs are so fat or my butt's getting big, I love my hands. I love my hair. My skin is glowing. I love the way this looks on me. I love this part of my body. If you say something like, God, I can never control myself at night, I just always blow it. How about, there's so many options that I get to choose? I love that there's so many options at the grocery store. For those of us who live in the first world, holy moly, there's so many options. We can buy 16 different kinds of lettuce. Just enjoy that. So finding something to be proud of, or to really expand into, to feel able to do, capable of doing, enjoying to do, rather than beating yourself up for something that you did wrong. I love your hair too. Another way is to expand your realm to see yourself the way others do. To really appreciate yourself, you've got to see yourself the way others who admire you and respect you and appreciate you see you. And stop believing the lies that you're telling yourself. So you could ask your community for input. You could say, I'm actually working on getting better self-belief and self-talk. And what could you tell me are my greatest strengths? That might be a big ask for some of you that feel not so confident. You could go back and read past praise or positive performance reviews. And remember, you're not just going straight to that part of like room to grow, areas for future growth. You're sticking with the what are your natural strengths? Expand your perspective to see yourself in the way that people who love you see you. I love you guys. You're talking about my hair. Okay, now here, I promised you at the beginning I was going to give you my secret hack for how to navigate out of an absolute shame storm when you are really in a sucky, bad way, when you feel awful, when you're self-critical, when you're only barely noticing that you're doing it to yourself. That's how low you are. When you're blah, when you're low, when you're stuck, when you're feeling just absolutely awful, here's what to do. It is difficult to follow the 4 C's in a moment like that. It is difficult to self-coach yourself and to find sort of compassion because you're just in too low a place. Can I get a hell yes? You guys know what that feels like? So don't give yourself a huge crevasse, a huge divide to hop over if it's going to be very challenging. Find an easier way. I can help you with finding this easier way because it's kind of like in those moments, you're in quicksand. And the more you struggle, the more you get sucked down, right? And that's when you might just go to numbing behaviors like have a drink, overeat, scroll, do Netflix, complain. Anything that helps soothe your sabotaging mind is what you'll go to if you can't unwind the negativity because you're in quicksand. So when you're in this tricky territory, this is my hack. Stop getting in your head. Stop trying to fix it in your head. Realize you're in quicksand and you got to get outside yourself. This is the hack. I want you to think of you're being like in a current of negativity that is pulling you down. It is hooking you and it's pulling you under. And I'm going to tell you how you can get yourself out of that, how you can self-arrest from the falling down, the sucking into the quicksand. You're going to cast your line up and out outside of yourself and find something else to love on. This is the hack. You need to find a positive aspect outside of yourself. If you can't self love in that moment, if you can't find something to really appreciate, if the negative voice goes, yeah, but maybe you've got great hair, but you're fat, or maybe you got this one win, but you failed. If you can't self coach, it's time to go outside of yourself and stop trying to stay in your brain and coach yourself. And here's what you can love on: pets. A favorite kid. I'm not talking about like you have favorites as a kid, but like little children are easy to love. And so if you have a little child in your life, whether you're a parent, I meant more like just it's lovely to be in the spirit of little kids and find somebody to love on. Some beautiful, small, younger soul that you can love on and appreciate. Nature, something that just takes your breath away, a beautiful vista. Any loved ones. And if all else fails, a really happy memory. Mary Catherine says babies, right? It's something that when you cast your attention on, you feel expansive, you feel love, you feel adoration, you feel encouragement, you feel appreciation, you feel joy in experiencing the magnificence that that creature or nature or being is. Heidi, trees. Beautiful. I love it that you guys have this accessible to you. I actually would give you a piece of homework to write down 3 things, 3 places you can go, 3 things you can love on, 3 people or images that you can call into your mind, a beautiful, happy memory that doesn't have a hook, that doesn't tear you back into some negativity, of something peaceful and loving and uplifting and perfect. And when you're in that space, the goal here is for you to lift your energy. The whole goal is just to find a good feeling. The whole goal is to have a happy spirit, even if you're borrowing it from someone or somewhere or something else. Because when you can bring that energy up, it is going to help you unwind those knots a little bit easier. Like when you're really crunched down in negativity and you're really feeling that you're really caught and hooked and pulled, it's going to be difficult for you to tug yourself out until you can loosen it a little. So that's your goal, is to find some looser, happier, lighter, loving energy to sort of self-arrest the shame storm. And then you might be able to go back and soften the judgment just a little bit and say something like, you know what? I'm okay and I'm getting better. I just did an exercise to help me work on these negative self-beliefs. Something like this that can just help gently lift you back up. Awesome. So I'm reading some of those things like the ocean and lake and like, big vistas. That's all super good. If it's not accessible to you, if you don't live by the ocean, you want to actually get a picture of it. Like go find something, an image or a picture from a vacation, and make a small area on your screensaver or an album that you can go and look at and actually like soothe and feed your soul when you need it. Like I just need to go to the beach, and you go to the beach. Awesome. So you guys are coming up with some really good. Keach is like, I knew a post-it was coming. So indeed, it is that what you want to do is you want to find an affirmation, something that you can find a positive aspect, put it on a post-it and put it everywhere. Some way that you can encourage yourself, you can be compassionate with yourself, you can be empathetic with yourself, something that avoids criticism, self-blame, and self-flagellation, because none of those things help you be better. You think it does, it's your natural go-to. You think if you beat yourself up, somehow you'll eat better tomorrow, to use that analogy, right? It doesn't help. It doesn't help. It doesn't help your frame of mind, your happiness, your fulfillment, even your ability to follow your own direction. You get so much further with kindness than with criticism. And that goes for yourself times 10. So when you're finding an affirmation, you're not going to go for some really high arc that doesn't feel true. It doesn't have to be like I'm becoming perfect, more perfect every day, right? Something that just feels ridiculous. It's got to be true. So I like to give myself some really realistic affirmations. Like, I've said this to myself before, I'm going to say it again. It's okay to mess up sometimes. It's okay. It's okay to mess up sometimes. I'm a human. Or I'm excited for my progress. I am so further along than where I was a year ago. Seriously, I am in such a different place than I was even 6 months ago. I'm so excited for my progress. You're going for progress, not perfection. And here's the thing with an affirmation, you'll know that it's working if there's a feeling that you can get when you say it in your mind's eye or when you speak it in your thoughts. If you can feel something uplifting and enjoying and sweet and calming and positive, then you know you've got a good affirmation. So it's not like a recited poem. It's not like every day I'm getting better in every way. It's more like, you know what? I really am getting better. I am so in a growth spurt right now. I do mess up sometimes, and it's because I'm pushing my outer edge. Something that actually feels true, that you can have a feeling response to, is how you know that it's going to work for you. Here's your goal: kindness, encouragement, and patience. This is the most patient part of yourself. You are not going to be perfect tomorrow. So don't even tell yourself that that's a goal. Don't don't say, I did mess up, but I know I'll get better tomorrow. It's more like you are just softening the judgment because there's still some judgment in there. Look at your affirmation and see, is there still a little judgment in there? So I like to say that when you're in a really low place, even an aspirational affirmation is better than a false one or none. So this could be like, I'm getting ready to believe that I am going to get that promotion. Not like that promotion is mine. Like I so have it. You go girl, you're all that. Like if that's not right where you're at, then I'm just getting ready to believe that I am learning enough to get that promotion. Or every day, my belief in my self-worth grows a little stronger. It does every day. Whenever I think about my self-worth in a positive sense of light, I feel better. I'm getting a little bit better when I give myself this positive attention. I'm getting ready to believe that I am getting better. Are we good? Are you following? So I want to say that you want to take care because you listen to your thoughts all day long. Your voice is by far the most influential input that you'll ever receive because it's you on you all day, every day. The only one that lives with you all the time is you. So your goal is to find a more compassionate, encouraging, kind, and patient way of being with yourself, even a little bit more than you were yesterday, to undo some of the negative self-talk that is really situated so front and center, so strong, so embedded in your psyche. Your subconscious is listening to what you say. So you're actually guiding yourself by the thoughts that you think. So even if you're just trying to find a better feeling thought, that's helping you tomorrow because your subconscious is listening to you today and it's tracking. Your subconscious will actually try to make true that which it believes is already true. And your subconscious doesn't really know the difference between reality and a desired reality except for how you feel. So if you keep feeling positive, you actually can create something more positive. This is a really out there type of lesson, but it's what wisdom attainers know is that you can become it before you are it. All right, we're rolling into our final moments together. Women who lead with heart, who are creating more confidence. What has been your biggest aha moment today? I'd love you to comment and post because saboteurs hate community, gremlins hate positivity, the negative self sabotage hates affirmations. Bring it on. What's been your biggest aha moment today? What has sort of stirred you to think, huh, I never thought of it that way? What do you want to own that you're beginning to believe? Haha. Keach is a wisdom attainer. And just as a treat, I might, oh, Amy, careful that you have a ton of work to do. Is that the kindest way that you can phrase it to yourself? Could you say that I've already learned a lot of lessons so far? Could you say that there are so many teachers in my life that are whoa, bringing me to my higher self? I tripped down the stairs while I was trying to show you guys the river. If parts of this lesson have felt challenging like that, like, oh, I'm so not in that place, or I have so much further to go, think about a softer way that you can frame that. Is there a little bit that you learned today? Is there a little bit that you can take on board for tomorrow? Is there something that you can say to yourself that's positive and affirming? Can you recognize that even your teachers are so flawed and fall down the steps? And forget to make the proper conference room announcement so they're doing their Facebook training outside in 95-degree heat? And that even she can be kind with herself and feel like, well, you know, maybe it was meant to happen this way. Maybe people like seeing something new. Yeah, I'm okay, Casey. I missed the last step. Yeah. I love it that you're learning how to address your inner saboteur. Okay, so you ready for tomorrow? Tomorrow's big, you guys. Tomorrow might be the biggest day of our entire week together. Tomorrow is blowing up imposter syndrome. This is the number one thing that you and my community have told me you need help with. And it's very close to this negative saboteur. That's why we did saboteurs today and gremlins and negative voices, negative critics, inner self-talk. Because tomorrow is all about feeling like you're not worthy, that you don't belong at the level that you are, that somehow you've just been lucky, that you haven't earned it, that you don't deserve it, that someone's going to find you out as a fraud, that you're not good enough, that you've got to try harder, you've got to work harder. This is really the inner slave driver that is pushing you way too hard, and you're always coming up short, and it needs attention. And I can help you with blowing up your inner imposter syndrome, the imposter that wants to beat you up and tell you you don't belong and make you miserable. So that is all about tomorrow, 24 hours from now. And there's going to be another giveaway tomorrow because I think this lesson is so important. I'm going to do another giveaway tomorrow at the very end. You got to stay all the way to the end to play the game. And I'm so excited. Yeah, I hear you guys saying you're really ready for imposter syndrome. You want to bring it on. Feel free to post in the comments if you want to tell me what exactly your imposter syndrome is telling you so that we can really address it. But I'm all set for you. I've got lots of training for you. And I've been there. I have been there not feeling good enough or smart enough or competent enough or put together enough or, you know, just perfect enough. I've been there. And I can honestly say you can unwind the knots that are binding you and holding you back because I have done it. And I ain't that special, girls. I just love self-development, and I've spent a lot of time swimming in these waters, and I love teaching. That's why I'm here. So see how we fit together? I'm here for you on your journey as you're ready for the lesson. I'm so happy that you joined me today. Thank you for hanging out with me outside if the sound wasn't so good. You can still invite friends if you want. And I would love all the comments, so keep them coming. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, same time right here to blow up your imposter syndrome. Thank you guys for coming. We'll see you tomorrow. Mwah. Bye for now.